arrived, and some staff members arrived last night and came back with the state championship. So I'm going to let Mr. Louis Pacheco tell us about it.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. Thank you so very much. What a positive privilege it is for me to be able to speak to you for 2 years in a row at our end of year faculty meetings to kind of recap the success that the students in our program have had over the course of the year and the culmination of all that success. It's a collective effort, and it starts with the 44 students that we have in the program, and it goes to UIL Congress State, which we traveled back in January to Austin, then to UIL Cross-Examination Policy Debate State, which we spent a good amount of time in spring break in Austin, and then just this past weekend, where we returned to Austin for the final UIL speech meet that comprises 5 events. So that's a total of 7 events over the course of the year in UIL speech, debate, and Congress. And through those 7 events, we are awarded finalists points that gather together for a state sweepstakes plaque. And so, the 2 young men that will be performing for you today were both finalists, both earning 15 points, together 30, which garnered Muleshoe High School a state second runner-up speech team. So the award goes not only to Wyatt and to Gio, but to every member in the program that helped to lift them up and helped to break them down when they needed it. Now, we are going to have Wyatt Parker perform his state championship winning prose interpretation first. It's a wonderful historiography, and it showcases the change of what we consider popular entertainment culture. And without further ado, we are going to let Wyatt's performance speak for itself.
In a small plane late one night, Lucille Ball and I were flying back from Baltimore, and I asked her something I never had before. Lucy, how do you relate to all your fame? She leaned back in her seat and said, I once read an article that said I was known in 99% of all households in America. And I'm looking down at all of these lights, thinking that if I rang even one of those doorbells, they would invite me in. I love television. Not the shock, reality, Kardashian version of today, but the wholesomeness of yesterday. Case in point, my favorite television show of all time is unquestionably I Love Lucy. Now, obviously, television has undergone a myriad of social changes over the decades. However, for me, I Love Lucy has had an enormous impact on me personally, because I choose to bypass the television shows of today, filled with sex, violence, and the unpredictable yet often staged world of reality television, and enjoy a wholesome classic comedy of a wine-stomping, chocolate factory-working, red-headed comedian known simply as Lucy. In his critically acclaimed memoir, author Lee Tannen has examined our changing world of television media influence, when he spent the last few years of Lucille Ball's life as her personal escort in New York City. An informational journey showcasing the societal changes of popular entertainment culture, from keeping up to when we all simply loved. I Loved Lucy by Lee Tan. During the last decade of her life, Lucy was at her happiest in New York. There are so many Manhattan memories. My favorite is the time I took Lucy to the movies. The one and only time I took Lucy to the movies. Here's why. It was the Cinema One on 3rd Avenue, and Lucy was dying to see Shirley MacLaine in Terms of Endearment. When we got to the theater, the ticket holders line wound its way around the block. I told Lucy that I would speak to the manager, and I was sure we would be able to wait inside. No way, she said. So there we stood, in the rain, in the cold, with everyone else. Lucy loved feeling regular, and she made the most of it. When we finally got inside, Lucy said, "Baby, get me a big bag of popcorn with lots of butter. Oh, and a Diet Coke." Then, she handed me $1. "Keep your money, Auntie Mame," I said. And as I waved the dollar bill in front of her face, I added, "It has been a long time since you've been to the movies." Now, Lucy adored musicals, so we were going to see La Cage aux Folles. When we got to the Oyster Bar, Lucy naively asked, "Wouldn't the subway be fun?" "No," I said, "it would not be fun. Could you just see me and Lucy on the subway? I would lose her. I know it. It would be just like the time Ethel lost Lucy on the subway when she had a loving cup stuck on her head." So, we held a cab to the Palace Theater. Now, La Cage was a big Tony Award-winning hit, with standing room only. And as usual, we had the best seats in the house. At intermission, we stayed in our seats. Lucy loved the show and was busily reading the playbill, but everybody else's eyes were on her. The house lights began dimming for the start of the second act when from the rafters came a lone male voice. "I love you, Lucy." That was it. From all over the theater, echoes of "We love you too," and "Lucy, you're the greatest." And all of a sudden, the house lights went back up and the applause continued. I had never seen anything like it. So much adulation for someone sitting in the audience. Lucy was touched and did not know what to do. I told her she had to stand up and take a bow or the second act was never going to begin. When she did, and waved to the crowd, the place went wild. In all my years out in public with Lucy, I had never seen anything like the idolatry she received that night at the Palace. Every Sunday evening, right after watching 60 Minutes, like clockwork, we would go for meatballs and spaghetti. Carino's was an unpretentious little hole in the wall with red and white checkered tablecloths and corny paintings of Sicilian scenes on the walls. Like Tony's, the Italian joint Lucy and Ethel went to when Ethel disguised herself as one part American Indian, one part Japanese geisha, and one part Eskimo. And Lucy would sit at the front table by the window, waving to any unsuspecting passerby who caught her eye. I think Lucy loved New York the best because she got to do all the things no one let her do when she was in Beverly Hills. Lucy died on April 26, 1989. Is there laughter in heaven? Well, if Lucy is indeed in heaven, then if they weren't laughing before she got there, they were definitely laughing now. The one thing I do know is that I'll never forget her. I loved Lucy. I still do.
Conference 3A State Champion of Poetry Interpretation. Back to back. A list of thank yous is far too long. It would take over 200 PowerPoint pages from the but there are a few that I need to. One in particular, who was part of an honor crew that accompanied our 4 competitors to UIL State this past weekend, who in my slow wit, after a very long car trip back from Austin, I forgot to mention. And so I have to apologize to Adriana Mora and recognize her for being a part of our honor crew this past week. And I can honestly thank every single one of the mules that are sitting in here in this auditorium, because you've all had a hand in this some way. Up next, we have a senior who is giving his farewell performance for Muleshoe High School, and who deservedly so has won a state championship as well. Giovanni Ceja is part of a back-to-back-to-back poetry championship for Muleshoe High School, started by Christopher Flores, who is actually helping them out today. He's back here giving them some words of encouragement. The next selection was not performed in finals. It was performed in prelims on Monday. So to give you an understanding of what we had to do, Sunday morning, 6 a.m., we left to Austin. We had meetings at UIL, the University Teaching Center on UT campus. The next morning, 7 a.m., Suburban Load took the first group of kids to the university, and at 10, the second group of kids were accompanied. We had an excellent support system, and I appreciate every adult sponsor who went on the trip, and I appreciate every student who went to encourage and perform their duties and roles and responsibilities. Giovanni Ceja and Wyatt Parker were ranked straight ones in prelims at UIL State. Giovanni's preliminary interpretation, I believe, reifies exactly what it is we do every single day. Gio will be moving on to Tyler Junior College in the fall and has a wealth of opportunity there, with scholarships, with work study, and with a phenomenal support system there that I fully have so much respect for. He is going to perform for you a program over the art of teaching.
When I was 7, my Sunday school teacher first taught me the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Now, the story of Job is the popular story of biblical perseverance, but I prefer Joseph. Ostracized by his own brothers, sent away to be a slave, predicting great famines. Yet for years no one knew. Well, no one cared. Then one day they realized Joseph's gifts, and there was much rejoicing. As I regularly inhabit classroom 208, I envision myself a modern-day Joseph. I believe I can teach. I await the day when my gifts will be realized. There will be much rejoicing. A good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. It's true. And while teaching is considered one of the noblest of all professions, sadly, according to the National Education Association, 40 to 50% of all educators leave the profession within their first 5 years of teaching. Now, this staggering statistic is having a tremendous impact on me personally, because I'm strongly considering becoming a teacher upon graduating college. In the following narrative poem, poet Joshua Sands, a real-life teacher, shines a spotlight on what it truly means to be a teacher in the new millennium. After all, a Latin proverb reminds us that by teaching, you will learn, and by learning, you will teach. The Art of Teaching by Joshua Sands. Gradually, I lose control. 30 teachers, 650 students. Hardly fair. They take control like a modern-day Trojan horse. One by one, they jump out of the horse and into 208. Into 208. Into 208. The Trojans are in the classroom assigned seats. Plotting. Plotting a takeover. Plotting my destruction. I don't understand them. Any of them. All of them. I watch what they watch. I read what they read. I listen. Gradually, I lose control. Can I go to the bathroom? Tell them to stop. Is this for a grade? When will I have to learn this? What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? It's 12:30, Daddy. Do you know where your kids are? After school, parent-teacher conferences. Notice, it's always parent-teacher. Never teacher-parent. Why? Because the parent approaching the teacher. The parent hearing the news. The parent finding out what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? The parent's time to catch up. Yes, he's reading at a 4th grade level. Yes, we're doing all that we can. Yes, I'm sure he's trying his best. Yes, I'll do more. Just once, let's have teacher-parent conferences where the teacher shows up at the door and the teacher hears the news and the teacher finds out what's going on. The teacher finds out why this kid never gets a haircut, why this kid always falls asleep in class, why this kid thinks farting is so funny, why this kid got caught with a hustler in his locker, and why this kid is part of the Trojan horse. An observer watches my classroom. Gradually, I lose control. The Trojans are rioting today. It's a show. Didn't you know? The observer tells me, well, I think you need to try this, read this, watch this, rework all of this, be better prepared for this, and for this. I finally figured it out. There are people who know what to do, but they're all busy observing. Stay away from 208. I'm armed and I'm dangerous. Stay away from 208 unless you really read Romeo and Juliet and are prepared to discuss it and mean it and like it. Stay away from 208 because I am going to teach. And you don't want me to. You can charge me to 204, 205, 206, 207. But stay away from 208. It's my home. I'm Joseph, waiting for the day when I'll be told to come home. Come on, it was all a bad joke. You were meant to be a slave. You have visions, talent, skills, things we need. Come home. Come home. Come home. And I wait to come home. I wait for the meaning, the moral, the message, the reason why I went through this, why I paid the penance. Who would understand? Joseph. Joseph would put his arms around me and say, "It's okay. It's over now. Come home."
Along with Dr. Moore's assistants, place some really awesome gold medals around their necks for in all of the last-minute finalization of getting this together. A lot of sleep needed. Those were left at home, but gold medals.